The reactions that I've had have been similar to yours. Just a thank you for acknowledging that it's not as simple as a yes or a no, you know? And I think for myself as well, like I didn't realize how much grief that I had around the fact that I wasn't going to have a child. I had grief about not wanting to have a child, which I realized was connected to grief I had about not having that close, nurturing, kind of loving bond with my mother. And then the realization of a very deep grief that runs in our family of my mother having lost her mother when she was 18, of my dad's mother having been quite mentally unwell, and just this undercurrent of just sadness, honestly, for the loss of these nurturing bonds due to all kinds of factors. And I hadn't realized the extent to which that had colored my very confident and empowered affirmative no. And so touching into that grief in myself has been, well, I mean, it's been incredibly painful, but so enriching, and it feels so much more real and like a real reflection of this experience. So it's really wonderful to hear you know, say that you have these kind of conflicted feelings too. So yeah, overall, I've just heard gratitude from people for allowing them to feel this way. And likewise, I've heard from so many mums who've read the book who've expressed gratitude for the fact that I'm permitting them to not always love being a mum, and I'm permitting them to sometimes wish they didn't have kids and to grieve the loss of the woman they were before they had children, right? So I think all of that, and honestly, this is one of the reasons I wanted to write the book, going back to what I was saying about these very two-dimensional kind of binary ideas about mothers and non-mothers, just never really feeling myself, feeling that I fit or feeling that they accurately represented our stories. And it really annoyed me, actually, that people who were child-free by choice, it wasn't ever acknowledged that that might come from, for example, not wanting to repeat patterns of family dysfunction that have been very challenging or abusive. Like that's a very real thing that I hadn't ever heard spoken about before, and which was reflected back to me consistently in the online survey I did. So many stories that sort of spoke to that piece. So yeah, it's mainly just been gratitude. Although, of course, there are those few, and I have my social media settings kind of like quite strict in terms of not just anyone can come on my page and comment. But yeah, of course, there are people who are just like, who can't get their heads around that level of complexity or nuance, you know, and have very strong opinions about that.
Carly,